Hello there. I welcome you to this episode of the Prophets of Islam. And we're going to allow Dr. Hussein, that has been teaching us, to just complete his lecture series on the Prophets of Islam. Actually, it's one interview, but I decided to chop that interview into segments so that, number one, the videos would not be too long that we're doing. Number two, we would have enough time to digest what our scholar, a Muslim scholar, is feeding us with. So, in this episode, he's going to talk about the sinlessness of the prophets of Islam. And we'll see where this goes. So, Dr. Hussein, over to you.
Last question. So I think you said the prophets are sinless, but does this mean that the Prophet Muhammad didn't make any mistakes, or how far does this go?
So, you had a question. He said the prophets were sinless. That should be in episode 2 or episode 1 or something like that. And now the interviewer is asking him, if you say the prophets are sinless, does that mean that Muhammad did not? He said make mistake. It's not a matter of making mistake. He should have said, does it mean Muhammad did not commit sin? That's the proper way to put it. But they like sugarcoating the whole thing. They like using euphemism, mistake, fault, things like that. Now let the scholar here explain.
Okay. Well, sinless means that they do not intentionally disobey God.
Did you hear that? Sinless means that they do not intentionally disobey God. First question, where did he get that definition from? Where? That to be sinless means you do not intentionally disobey God. Where did he get that definition from? Sin is sin. Sin is sin. Were it not that God, whether you know or you don't know, you see, you get the idea from the Bible. The idea of there's no ignorance in law. That it's taken from the Bible, right from the Old Testament. That even if you sin unintentionally, you will still have to sacrifice animals to cleanse you. So you can't plead ignorance. When a law is broken, it is broken. There's no repair. Thou shalt not do this. And if you have done it, you cannot be arrogant and say, after all, I didn't know. All you have to plead for is mercy. And to plead for mercy in the Old Testament, you come with sacrifice. Oh Lord, even though I did this thing, please forgive me. I didn't know. And even if you knew, and you are repenting, you would still have to. But he is saying to be sinless means to do things unintentionally. Okay? To not intentionally disobey God. So where did he get the definition from? From his head. They're trying to protect Muhammad from appearing bad. That's why they do all these gymnastics. But let him continue.
So they would never intentionally disobey God.
That's not true. That's not true. And I'm going to take you to Hadith, where Muhammad himself confessed sins. Muhammad confessed sins. And this man is saying they would never intentionally disobey God. We can go to the Quran, where Allah said Muhammad should confess his sins, where Allah said he had forgiven him of his present and future sins. So sin is sin. There's nothing like intentionally or unintentionally. Sin is sin. So what you see the dancing around. So let me just do a few hadiths at this juncture. So here is sunnah.com. You can just go there and search for my sins. As simple as that. My sins. And then we're going to see what will come out. Let's see. You can see sin. So there's plenty to to talk about, but I'm looking for where Muhammad actually confessed his own sins, and this man is saying, no, to be sinless means to not intentionally disobey God. So let's see whether what he says is correct or not. Let's see. Okay, so here is one of the this is not too long. It's a brief hadith. As you can see, this is Mishkat al-Masabi 2482. 2482. Mishkat. I want to position it properly on the screen so everybody. Okay. Abu Musa al-Ashari told on the Prophet's authority that he used to use this supplication: "O God, forgive me my sin, my ignorance, my extravagance in my affairs, and what thou knowest better than I do. O God, forgive my serious and my frivolous sins, my unintentional and my intentional sins. I am guilty of all that. O God, forgive me." Blah blah blah. What I cannot see, this hadith is making it difficult to conclude whether it was Abu Musa al-Ashari that was saying that or whether it was Muhammad, because it says Abu Musa al-Ashari told on the Prophet's authority. So I guess this is Muhammad talking and saying my serious sins and my frivolous sins, my unintentional sin and my intentional sins, for I am guilty of all that. So somebody is saying I'm guilty. The scholars are saying no, he is not. He's not. Okay, so here is the one that is a little bit straightforward. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet used to say, "O Allah, I seek refuge with you from laziness and geriatric old age, from being in debt and from committing sins. O Allah, I seek refuge with you from the punishment of the fire, the afflictions of the grave, the punishment in the grave, and the evil of the affliction of poverty, and from the evil of the affliction caused by Al-Masih al-Dajjal," which is the Antichrist. "O Allah, wash away my sins." Wash away my sins in the plural, and the water of snow. I don't want to go into the Arabic, what word is used here in the Arabic, what this, and I don't want this video to be too long. Okay, if any Muslim says what we're talking about is not correct, then maybe we're going to do that. So wash my sins away, cleanse my heart from the sins as a garment is cleansed, blah 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 blah. This is Muhammad confessing sins. Okay, here is this. This is another one. Narrated Abu Huraira, Allah's messenger used to keep silent between the opening takbir of the prayer and the recitation of the Quran for a short while. Then I asked him about that, and he replied, I say. So when he was keeping quiet, these are the things he was saying. So I asked him, and he said, "Oh Allah, keep me apart." This is what I used to say. My sins, and they put faults in bracket. Have you seen this? They put faults in bracket. That's an insertion. As you have blah 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 blah. My sins, cleanse me from my sins. Let's read more. Let's read more. Okay. The Prophet used to say, this is narrated Aisha, "Oh Allah, I seek refuge with you from laziness and geriatric old age, from all kinds of sins, all kinds of sins." Okay. And then he says, "Oh Allah, wash away my sins." And they are talking about he is sinless. All prophets are sinless. Okay. By the way, when they say all prophets are sinless, why did Allah drive Adam from Jannah? Why did he drive him from, where do they call it? I think they call it, it's not paradise. There's a name they call it. Okay. But let's say paradise for, I can't remember the term. Why did Allah drive Adam from that place? Why? So if all prophets are sinless and Adam was a prophet, And Allah drove Adam from that place down to earth because of his sins. How do you reconcile the two? That prophets are sinless. How do you do that? So let's go. Okay, the messenger of, blah 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 blah. So we see in the Quran that Allah said he had forgiven Muhammad his sins, his present sins, his future sins. We see in the Hadith that Muhammad confessed his sins, his big sins, his small sins, his open sins, his secret sins, his intentional sins, his unintentional sins. And this scholar is coming to tell us, no, it's not true. So, continue, scholar.
Occasional slips have happened, but they are only slips, and therefore they are, because they're not intentional, therefore they don't really matter. And God is very forgiving, overlooks the mistakes. But as far as the prophets are concerned, they are ma'soom, which means that they actually are protected. That's the literal meaning of it. They are actually protected from falling into becoming egotistical, falling into the trap of the Satan, falling.
Do you understand what this man is talking about? So as far as the prophets are concerned, they are protected from falling into the trap of Satan. I don't want this video to be too long, but that's not true. That's not correct. Muhammad actually did some horrible, horrible sins that I can be mentioning. Have you heard about the time he cursed a particular girl who was a maid to a woman, and the woman, the girl, I think an orphan, if I'm not mistaken, then went home crying and went to report to her madam, her boss. And the woman came to meet Muhammad. I'm going to look for the hadith, maybe not here. Came to meet Muhammad and to say, why did you curse my girl, my maid? What did she do to you? And Muhammad said, well, and he gave an excuse that anybody that he cursed, that Allah will turn it into a blessing. Do you believe that? And this man is saying the prophets are protected from falling into I don't understand what he's talking about. They are protected from falling into the traps of the devil. By the way, there's another hadith in which people were talking, and Muhammad said that there's a Satan, there's a devil attached to everybody. And somebody asked him, including you? And he said, yes, including me. But my own devil, and what he said was that the devil commands that your personal devil commands you to do things. And they were asking him, okay, including you. He said, yes. But the only thing is that Allah has protected me from my own devil. My own devil only commands me to do good. Do you believe that? That a devil commands people to do good? These are hilarious things. So as you look at all these things, you will see that the man is just manipulating here and there. And these people are coming to tell us all kinds of stories. I can let him continue.
Into losing their temper. So they are protected. God protects.
It's not true. It's not true. There's a hadith where Muhammad lost his temper. Okay, somebody was asking him something and then he frowned. His eyes became red. He was angry because they were asking him about something sensitive, something concerning his revelation. So, look, you are just deceiving yourself. You're deceiving. I'm going to do another episode, another video in detail where I will be examining this in detail, the sinlessness of the prophets. What I've done here is to connect it with the prophets of Islam, because I wanted this man, this scholar, to We wanted to examine all that he had to say about the prophets, the belief in the prophets of Islam. And so we've looked at different parts of his interview, and this is the last one where he talked about sinlessness of the prophets, which is not true. It's not true. You just look all over the Hadith, you look all over the Quran, you see sin of Muhammad. Okay, so whatever anybody regards as sin, it is not sin, because prophets cannot sin. That's what Muslims are telling us. Whatever anybody calls sin, as far as you mention a prophet now, no, it's not sin. So Abraham did not commit sin. Moses did not commit sin, even though he struck a rock when God said he should speak to that rock, and he didn't get to the promised land. What could be so serious to prevent somebody from getting to the promised land if it is not a serious sin, if it is just a small fault? And he said, you see, God is merciful, he forgives. Did Moses do a serious sin in striking the rock or not? Was it a serious sin? If it was not a serious sin, why did it prevent him from getting to the promised land? If it was a serious sin, why are you saying prophets cannot commit serious sins? All right? And we can mention many more. How about Suleiman ibn Dawood? According to you, he was a prophet. According to Islam, he was a prophet. How about all the things he did? How about David, Dawood, king of Israel? Did he commit sin in sleeping with the wife of Uriah and in causing Uriah to die at the battlefront? Was that a sin or not? Was it intentional or unintentional? And many, many, many more. Many, many more. So I don't understand what they mean by sinlessness. You see, the reason they talk about sinlessness of the prophets is because they want to protect Muhammad from appearing bad, so that we don't look at what Muhammad did as sin. As sin. By the way, Muhammad himself said, Jesus, I don't believe what he says. I don't believe what he says. Whether he is chorusing what other people have believed before him or not, I don't believe anything that comes out from his mouth. But I'm only quoting him. He said, every man that is born into this world, the devil touches them. Only Jesus and his mother were not touched by the devil. That's what Muhammad said. And so, where did these Muslims get the idea that prophets did not commit sin? Where? This is why Muslims come to tell us on social media that we Christians are demonizing God's prophets, that we are attributing sins to them. So anything they do that is sinful, openly sinful, no, don't consider that as a sin, because no matter what they do, it is not sin. It is not sin. That's the idea that Muslims have in their mind when they talk about prophets. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Catch you in the next video.